So this week's Parshas is about Poraduma. And Rashi brings Divrei Chazal. Chukim chukakti, gzeres guzarti. Ve'ein lechu reshus laharar achareim. In the introduction to Minchas Osher Nagodah Shel Pesach, there's a short mama. The Medrash says, David HaMelech says in Tehillim, Yehi libi somem bechukecha. Chukecha is Loshen Rabim. Chukas HaPesach v'chukas HaPorah. And I ask, what is the common denominator between Chukas HaPesach and Chukas HaPorah? And my feeling is not because they have something in common, but rather because they have nothing in common and they're so different. They are so different. Two contrasts. Chukas HaPorah, ein lechu reshus laharer achareim. Not only you can't ask, don't even think. Chukim chukakti, gzeres guzarti, ve'ein lechu reshus laharer achareim. Don't try to understand because you cannot understand. Because the mitzvahs are above and beyond the realm of your understanding. Ein lechu reshus laharer achareim. And then when it comes to Pesach, not only do you need to think, you need to ask. And the simpleton, Eina Yodea Lishol, your boy is sitting around the table and he's happy. He has no questions at all. And we go to the extreme to provoke him to ask questions. Oike mesa shulchan, machalken kloyes ve'egoizim, madbilim. And all this is, everybody should ask. And we encourage them, ask. So what's Darko Shel Torah? By Chukas HaPorah we say, shut up. Don't even think. And when it comes to Pesach, talk. Open your mouth. Why are you sitting like a klutz around the table? Talk. You have no questions? So my Darko Shel Torah. What is the answer? We learn the answer from the Akedah. Al tishlach yodcho al anar. Chazal say, Avraham Avinu puts down the machoiles. He turns to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and he says, Achshav afaresh sichosi. Rabbeinu Shalom. Now it's my turn to ask. Betchilo amartu li, ki v'yitzchak yorah chazorah. אחר כך אמרתי לי, הלאה שם לי אלו. ועכשיו אתה אומר לי, אל תשלח ידך אל הנער. Avram asks two questions. But why didn't he ask question number one when HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, הלאה שם לי אלו? Why didn't he stop there and then and say, Rabbeinu Shalom, I don't understand what's going on. You promised me, ki v'yitzchak yorah chazorah, and now you tell me to shechter? But he didn't ask. When does he ask? When it's all over. When the Malach says, Al tishlach yodcho al anar. And I think it took a lot of courage from Avraham Avinu to ask, you said Helei Hashem liyaylo, and now you say Al tishlach yodcho al anar. Avraham Avinu should have taken into account that Kodesh Baruch Hu might say, Avraham, you're right. Go ahead, shecht him. If I would be Avraham Avinu, I would break that knife immediately and throw it away, never to find again. And Avraham says, I don't understand. You told me, and now you're saying, but question number one, why didn't he ask when HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, when you need to do, it is not time to ask. And Avraham Avinu doesn't want to ask. He had a clear command of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shech your son. And that is what he's going to do, whether he understands or not. I have a huge kasha. You promised ki v'yitzchak yikorah l'chozera. Now I have no questions. If this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants me to do, I do it. It is only when HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him no. Now he asks not one question, now he wants to understand. Stage 1 and stage 2. So when it is time to do, it's not time to ask. You ask only when there is no risk that your question will affect your Mesiras Nefesh and your understanding we need to do Devar Hashem. And that is what reconciles Chukas Pesach and Chukas Apor. So Avraham Avinu does what HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him to do. He asked questions. Now is not the time to ask questions. Now is the time to do. This is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants me to do, whether I understand or not. This is what I'm going to do. And that is the Bakosha of David HaMelech. So by Matan Torah, Chazal say, "B'shosh hekdimi Yisur nasa lenishma yordu, samech riboy malachei Yeshores v'elbishu lekol echad miyisrael shnei ksorim, echad keneged nasa v'echad keneged nishma." And I ask, but Chazal don't say b'shu she'omru Yisrael nasa v'nishma. They say b'shu shehegdimu Yisrael nasa v'nishma. There was only one Hagdama. So why two ksorim for one Hagdama? If Chazal would say, B'shosha Omri Yisroel Nasa V'nishma, we would understand why it's two. But Chazal say, B'shosha Gedimu. And I say, when you say Nasa before Nishma, that's unbelievably gewaldig. We are willing to do Devar Hashem, whatever it may be. Whatever it is. We took upon ourselves Tariag Mitzvahs even before we knew what it involves. And that's crazy. A person applies to a job, doesn't know what the job is, and he tells his future employer, yeah, I'm willing to sign. Do you know what it's about? No, I don't care. Whatever it is, I'm doing it. Do you know how much your compensation is? No, I don't care. Whatever you want, give me. I would never hire a person like that. You're a crazy man. You can't do the job. Go elsewhere. Would anybody willing to sign a contract without knowing how much he's getting paid and without knowing what the job is about? And that is exactly what we did. Hekdima nasa lenishma. We had no questions at all. Because we love the Kodesh Baruch Hu and we trust him. So a guy's a billionaire. And he calls his son, and he tells my boy, you want to work for me? And then I'm going to give you a job. He doesn't need to ask what it's about, and he's not even interested in how much I'm getting paid. I know. You're my dad. You know I'm not that smart. I'm not that great. Obviously, you want to hire me because you want to give me parnasa. So he asks nothing. He says, Abba, what do you want me to sign? Great, thank you. I appreciate it. That was our situation. Ovinu Shebeshamayim, we trust HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He knows we're not that bright. He knows we won't really fulfill this job as we should. No one does. But he wants to be good to us. You know, he wants to give us. He wants to, so we have nothing to ask. What do we need to ask Shilas? It's our Father. All he wants is to give. So when you put Nasa before Nishma, it's great. But when you put Nishma after Naisa, it also becomes a different type of Nishma. It no longer means to hear. It means to listen and to try to understand. And that is Nishma Shala Achar Nasa. If they would say Nishma V'Nasa, Nishma would be, let's hear what it's about. And then we'll decide, do we want or not? But when you put Nishma after Naisa, that is Avraham Avinu asking, מתחילה אמרת לי כי ויצחקי לכל הזולה. אחר כך אמרת לי, הלאה שם נהיה לו. עכשיו, Avraham Avinu wants to understand. He wants to understand, what was this about? What was number one? What was number two? And that is the Nishma Shalach HaNasa. And that is why, B'shoshek Dim Yisor Nasa LaNishma, they deserve two crowns and not one. One is for Chukas Pesach, the other is for Chukas Apor. One is for Nasa Lefnei Nishma, and the other one is for the Nishma Shala'acha Nasa. And that is Yiddishkeit. That is what we're all about. Serving, regardless of what it is, trusting HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whatever it is a Toiv Seinu, it is for us. It is out of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's love for Klal Yisrael. And the Nishma Shel HaAchanas is not just doing Ka'odam HaParei HaChoyvoi, but trying to understand why and what and how we could better serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What are the mitzvahs all about? And that is what David HaMelech asked, Ki hi libi someh b'chokecha, Chukas HaPesach and Chukas HaPorah.